Hey gorgeous, in the middle of your wedding planning, there can be some things that are actually quite small, but they can become a big bummer in the end. Watch this video until the end to find out all the little secrets and little details that will make sure that your day goes as smoothly as possible. My name is Katie and this is OLIVIA BOTTEGA Wedding Dresses. Let's go. When you start your wedding planning, these little things that may be a big trouble in the very end are so not obvious. So before you start to plan your wedding, you have to think through all these details, all these little things that are important to you. So if you think about it, for example, let's say you've forgotten to wear your veil. That is like a big thing. But for example, if you've forgotten to put on an anklet, this is like actually nothing, and probably your dress is long anyway, so nobody's gonna see it. Only you will know that you've forgotten it. So it can be things like that. For example, at my wedding, I will absolutely at all costs have these three things. That will be perfume, phone charger, and a lipstick, because I just want to make sure that these things are all the time with me, and this will make me feel safe and secure and important. So what are your top 3, maybe top 5, maybe top 10, or even top 15 things that you will have to have at your wedding at any cost? Once you have this list prepared, make sure to give it to all of your friends, important friends, your besties probably, your bridesmaids, maybe your mom, to make sure that even if you've forgotten something, somebody else is out there to make sure that you have these things with you, because they can be small, like who cares about a lipstick? But trust me, when it comes to your wedding and you're like, I want everything to be perfect, and then you don't have it all perfect, that can be a bummer. Maybe it can be like a set of separate shoes, like to wear after your, wild dancing. Maybe it can be another gown, maybe it can be even a party dress of another color. Just make sure that you understand what is important for you and you write it down. It's that easy. So you can actually bring it down to like top 5 things that you will absolutely have at your wedding no matter what happens. And after you have this little list, it goes easier to understand what you should prepare, what you should not carry about. And I'm here to help you understand what those 5 little things can actually be. So one of the most important things to consider before you start your planning, before you start to understand what's going to happen at your wedding, is actually arranging transportation for your family. Like, did you make sure how they will get there? How will they drive around with you? How will you carry them from one place to another? Make sure that you get an Uber. Ask your friends who have cars to drive you around, and make sure that you have your own transportation. But probably you thought about that too, but your family, your friends, make sure if you are preparing this type of stuff for your friends, your family, make sure that they have something to use to drive around after you at your wedding. Next one you should think about is actually arranging someone to gather and secure gifts, because it can be so easy to forget all the gifts or get them lost, or something gets confused and somebody takes your gift home. That doesn't happen that often, but it still can. So make sure that there is someone. So no matter how drunk you are, how much fun you're having, you know that there is someone who will take care of all your presents, and tomorrow morning they will be delivered right to your front doorstep. So make sure that you have that person. And next one is super obvious, but most people forget about it or ignore it, is actually bring your vows. Because it happens so often when people are like, oh, this is time to say my vows, where are my vows? So make sure that your bridesmaid, your mom, your sister, print at least 1 copy of your vows with you, and make sure that you bring the vows of your beloved, because this is actually a super important thing. Don't forget a thank you speech for your reception. Many people ignore it, many people don't care about it, but actually when you're there and you're so emotional and you're so happy and so excited and you're like, oh my God, I want to thank all these people, but I just don't know how. I'm shy, I'm nervous, whatever. So if you feel like saying something that goes from the bottom of your heart, then go for it, just say it. But if not, then make sure that you have this little thank you note to thank everyone who attended your special event. And of course, a marriage license. You'll be surprised how often people just ignore it, they don't care about it, and they forget it because it's so obvious to take, but then they just don't bring it, and you're like, What to do now? So let's talk about little things that bring more love, more inspiration to your day. And I'm speaking about something that important as having a proper breakfast on your wedding day. Because most people ignore it, they're like so into emotions, so into excitement, and they forget to eat. And then when it's time to have fun, they're super tired, they are super sore, and you don't want that happening. So make sure you eat a proper breakfast. Apart from breakfast, make sure that you have your beauty night sleep. This is so important, and I understand that you can be so overwhelmed with like, oh my god, I'm getting married tomorrow, and trust me, I know the feeling, but make sure that you have a proper good night's sleep. But don't take any medicine, because what if you overtake it and you won't be able to wake up in time? So just make sure to get calm before you have to go to bed, take a bath, take a shower, relax, and try to get a good night's sleep. And this is probably an after the wedding theme more, but make sure that you have time to eat your first dinner with your new spouse the next day after your wedding. I think this is just so cute and so important to share your love with each other. So other things that you may actually want to consider, for example, what hangers should you use for your dress? Will they be black or will they be white? This is important. Or for example, a cake cutter. What color will it be? Gold, silver, wood, black? I don't know, what is your choice? For example, cake topping or that little figure that you put on the cake. What color is it gonna be? Is it gonna be two people? Is it gonna be a heart? Is it gonna be a dove? I don't know. What do you want? What do you like? Also, many people tend to ignore, for example, pants for guest book. Yes, you will be surprised how often people just ignore it, and everybody's coming, everybody wants to write down something nice for you, and then you just don't have a pen. And just make sure that you have a pretty one. This is so simple, such a little detail, but it makes sure that your wedding is just perfect. Another thing you may want to think about before you start your planning is actually getting these nice little figures for table sitting, so that whenever the guest arrives, they have this number and they know what table is theirs. This is actually a very nice thing to think about before you start planning. And so this also goes in kind of a wedding planning. So when you start your day and you have to get your makeup done, your hair done, what are you wearing? Do you have a robe to wear? Make sure that you have one, because this is important. You don't want to sit there naked, and you don't want to sit there wearing your beautiful wedding dress. What if some makeup drools on it or drops on it? I don't know. Just make sure that you have something to wear, something pretty, something beautiful that you can use actually in a photo shoot too. Why not? You also have to think about those little tiny things, such as, for example, a phone charger. What if your phone dies in the middle of your wedding and you're like, oh no, I wanted to have more pictures, and your phone is just not there? So make sure that you bring your charger. Make sure that you have changed your passport before you go to your honeymoon. Make sure that you have vendor meals. Make sure that you have all the things that may happen, and it's better to be safe than sorry. But the most important thing above all, above everything, is to actually have fun and enjoy your big day. This is the most important thing, because who cares if you brought a charger if your day is going amazing? So what if you don't have an extra picture? Nobody cares. Just the only one who cares is you. And when it comes to our area of expertise, I recommend going to our website that you can find a link below this video and find that article about how to take care of your wedding dress, because actually, trust me, this happens. Brides, they tend to forget to prepare their wedding dress for their big day, and when they're in a church already, they be like, oh no, my dress is ruined, my dress is all like smudgy and it has creases all over. They just forgot to steam it. So make sure that you properly steam your wedding dress before your big day. If you have some detachable parts to your dress, make sure that you bring them. If it's a skirt, then make sure that you bring the skirt. If it's detachable sleeves, make sure that you bring sleeves. If it's a veil that needs to be steamed, make sure that it's properly steamed too. If it's some decorations, some accessories, make sure that you brought them with you. And while maybe you may be having several looks for your big day. It can be a convertible dress, but it can actually be a separate dress. It can be 2 separate dresses, 3 of different colors and stuff. Make sure that while you are waiting to wear them, while you are waiting to put them on, that they are hanged in a proper position, in a proper place, in a proper location, that when you get to them, they look all nice and clean and fresh and brand new. Don't forget to put on your bridal elastic around your leg, because this is so sexy and so nice. So yes, just make sure to follow all these tips. You should also make sure to use deodorant because this is something that brides tend to forget, and then you're in the middle of your wedding and you're like, oh my god, I forgot to put it on, and it's not nice, and you start to get nervous and worried. You don't want that, so think about this. And actually, if you want to make sure that you glisten like so much and so sparkly and so pretty and so just beautiful, make sure to put on some sparkling cream before you go into your wedding. But before you put on your dress, make sure that the cream properly absorbed into your skin, because you don't want any of the cream on your dress. So it's stuff like that that make the big picture look super clear, super nice, and super gorgeous. Thanks for watching, and make sure to follow our next video about what more things you should consider before you are getting married. Thank you. Bye.